The first thing everyone noticed was the silence, not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, humiliating silence that follows when a man realizes the world has decided not to see him anymore. The Japanese Admiral stood alone in the center of the vast international airport, medals hidden beneath a plain overcoat, posture still straight out of habit, eyes scanning faces that slid past him like water around a stone. He had asked for help 3 times already. 3 times people had smiled politely, nodded without understanding, or simply turned away. No one knew that in exactly 12 hours, a decision resting on this man's shoulders would determine whether thousands lived or died. And no one knew that the only person who would finally understand him was a single dad janitor pushing a mop with a broken wheel. The Admiral's name was Hiroshi Takeda. Once, his name alone had commanded entire fleets. Now it meant nothing outside a few carefully guarded rooms in Tokyo. He had been sent quietly, urgently, to attend a classified multinational summit after a rapidly escalating maritime crisis threatened to spiral into war. The problem was simple and devastating. The interpreter assigned to escort him never arrived. A clerical error, a missed connection. And now, Takeda was stranded in a foreign country whose language he barely spoke, with a phone that had stopped working, and a body that refused to acknowledge how tired it was. He approached a help desk again, rehearsing the same broken English in his mind. "I need embassy, meeting, very important." The young man behind the desk nodded sympathetically, typed something, frowned, then shook his head. "Sorry, sir, no record. Maybe information counter." Takeda bowed out of reflex, thanked him, and stepped aside, the sting of uselessness burning hotter than jet lag ever could. As he stood there, memories pressed in uninvited. His wife's last smile before illness took her. The promise he'd made to protect others so no family would feel that loss again. The weight of command, now reduced to a man lost in an airport. That was when he heard Japanese. Not the careful, formal kind, but warm, everyday Japanese, spoken with a slight accent and a hesitant respect. "Sumimasen, are you all right, sir?" Takeda turned, startled. The speaker was a janitor, mid-30s, wearing a faded uniform. One wheel on his cleaning cart wobbled loudly. His eyes were tired but kind, the eyes of someone used to being overlooked. On his name badge, Daniel Reyes. Takeda's composure cracked just a little. "You speak Japanese?" Daniel nodded, suddenly nervous. "Not perfectly. I lived there for a few years. My wife was Japanese." He hesitated, then added softly, "before she passed." Something passed between them in that moment, grief recognizing grief. Takeda straightened, bowing deeply. "Thank you for speaking to me. I am in trouble." Daniel listened as the Admiral explained, his voice calm but strained, words precise even when emotion threatened to break through. Daniel's eyes widened, not at the rank, Takeda never mentioned it, but at the urgency. "You've been trying to get help this whole time." Takeda nodded. "No one understands. I do not blame them." Daniel looked around the bustling terminal, then back at the man everyone else had ignored. "Come with me," he said. "I don't know if I can fix everything, but I won't leave you standing here." They walked through service corridors that smelled of disinfectant and coffee, past doors marked employees only. Daniel called favors, translated calls, argued politely but firmly. He missed his break, then his lunch. He didn't care. Somewhere between borrowed phones and rushed explanations, he learned that Takeda was not just any official. When the truth finally landed, Daniel felt his chest tighten, not with fear but with the weight of responsibility. By the time they reached a quiet office where embassy officials finally arrived, Takeda looked 10 years younger. He bowed again, deeper this time. "You have helped more than you know." Daniel smiled awkwardly. "I just didn't want you to be alone." They parted quickly, the urgency returning like a snapped leash. Daniel went back to his cart, his phone buzzing with a reminder, pick up Sophia from school. He rushed, heart full but life unchanged. At least he thought so. Weeks later, the world watched as headlines shifted from brinkmanship to breakthrough. A tense standoff dissolved into cooperation. Analysts praised anonymous diplomacy, calm leadership, restraint. No names were mentioned. Taekta returned home, resumed his duties, and carried on as admirals do. But he did not forget the janitor who had seen him when he was invisible. Daniel's life, meanwhile, remained a careful balancing act. Sophia needed new shoes. Rent was late again. Some nights he wondered if the years he'd spent learning Japanese, loving a woman from another world, had been a detour that led nowhere. He never told anyone about the man at the airport. It felt unreal, like a dream you don't trust enough to share. Then one rainy afternoon, Daniel was called into the airport manager's office. He feared the worst: missed shifts, policy violations. Instead, a small group of officials waited, along with a man in a familiar overcoat. Taekta bowed first. This man, Taekta said in careful English, reminded the world how peace begins. Daniel didn't understand everything that followed: commendations, a scholarship offer for Sophia, a new position as cultural liaison, part-time, paid well, built around his schedule as a father. But he understood the look in Taekta's eyes: gratitude, respect, recognition. Later, as Daniel walked home holding Sophia's hand, she looked up at him. "Papa, why were you smiling so much today?" He thought of an airport full of people who didn't stop, of a moment when speaking one familiar language changed the course of countless lives. "Because," he said, squeezing her hand, "helping one person can matter more than anyone ever knows." And somewhere across the ocean, an admiral stood at his window, watching the sea, believing it too.